My identity is Clara Jones, and I am 32 years old, 14 days before Thanksgiving last year. My mobile buzzed in my urban Seattle flat. It was Mother. Her tone strangely quiet and unsure. Clara, sweetheart, regarding Thanksgiving this season, do not travel. I clutched the handset firmer, yet before I could reply, my sibling's tone interrupted from the surroundings, harsh and absolute. We will act like you are an unknown person if you appear regardless. The phrases hit like a scheme I could not disregard. They were selecting my former partner, the man who'd deceived me repeatedly, above their own child, since he would beguile them with financing for father's company and assistance. During Mother's operation, he depicted me as the issue, excessively devoted to my technology sales career to settle. I did not scream or plead. Rather, I merely stated, "Fine, have a good time at your gathering," and disconnected with an icy grin. They could not view. Yet that conversation was the catalyst. I had understood for weeks about my sister's concealed disloyalty, a thing she'd admitted in a fright, pleading with me to remain silent. And now they believe pushing me aside would preserve their flawless holiday undisturbed. They had no clue what was approaching, the revelation that would untangle their falsehoods, transform their get-together into disarray, and leave them floundering with remorse they could not avoid. If only they understood how one basic dissemination could invert everything, compelling the reality forth in manners nobody anticipated. If your relatives misplaced faith in you, what might you do next? Inform me where you are viewing this. I wish to discover how extensively this narrative traveled. The aftermath struck like a tempest approaching from the Puget Sound within moments of the gathering, concluding. Images from Nathan's uncovering began appearing in nearby Seattle circles. Nameless uploads labeling the relationship between Jessica and her previous supervisor, Tyler Brooks, individuals, disseminated and remarked, making our relatives' concealed troubles into widespread content. Father's company page became inundated with inquiries concerning his unreliable child, and locals in Tacoma murmured at the supermarket. Aunt Carol was the initial to break. She texted the relatives group late that evening, including excerpts from the program I'd given her, insisting to understand why they'd excluded me for Justin Lee, my ex who'd performed the savior. "This is not relatives," she typed, her sentences igniting disputes that illuminated my mobile display. Mother attempted contacting me twice, her voice faltering as she inquired whether I'd viewed the uploads. Yet I allowed it to reach answering machine, gazing out at the drizzly metropolitan illumination from my urban terrace. Jessica's existence collapsed quickest. By daybreak, her manager at the retail company had summoned her, mentioning interruptions influencing output corporate speak for the controversy erupting on the internet. She was dismissed that day. No payout, simply a container of her belongings and a caution concerning recommendations. She messaged me angrily, attributing the breach to cybercriminals, yet I understood she guessed me. Father followed up with a voicemail, his inflection anxious, stating the loans Justin had guaranteed were now in jeopardy since customers withdrew over the turmoil. Justin disappeared from sight, his LinkedIn account went inactive, and murmurs from shared acquaintances in the technology industry mentioned his sales group at the venture had marginalized him. Standing damaged by connection to the disorder, coworkers circulated jokes and confidential messages, dubbing him the relatives' destroyer. He did not attempt to contact yet, likely concealing in some outlying area, stressing over the disclosure. I remained in my flat, drinking dark coffee as the downpour beat the panes, browsing through the mayhem without a sound. The gratification was muted yet piercing, observing their impeccable front splinter under the burden of realities they concealed. No more feigning, disintegration had merely commenced. And I was not raising a hand to halt it. It all commenced 21 days prior with a misplaced mobile. Jessica had abandoned her previous gadget at my home following an uncomfortable relative's meal in Tacoma, asserting she'd refresh shortly. I grabbed it to power up, yet inquisitiveness overwhelmed me when alerts sounded from concealed applications. Gliding through, I discovered a secured directory. Her access number was our youth pet's birth date. Simple assumption. Within were incriminating excerpts, confidential video chats with Tyler Brooks, her prior manager at the retail company, their visages near in late-night monitors, murmurs becoming personal. Date markers displayed coincidences with her outings with Nathan Wright, her committed partner who'd discussed wedlock. Blended in were message conversations. Playful initially, then graphic regarding encounters in hotel foyers downtown. One communication from Tyler stated, "Ian." Eagerly awaiting our following extra hours erased this. Jessica's answers verified the chronology. 90 days of mysteries she'd concealed while lecturing relatives' faithfulness. Stun struck intensely, yet I continued browsing, assembling it collectively. She'd admitted fragments to me once. Intoxicated and weeping, vowing it was an error and imploring secrecy since Nathan prized truthfulness beyond everything. Now the entire extent look-back pictures she'd stored as insurance. Possibly, or mementos. I moved everything to my protected storage. Hands calm despite the treachery simmering within. Alicia Grant intervened right then, my coworker from the technology sales unit. She'd observed my preoccupation at work the following day and took me aside throughout lunch. "Whatever is bothering you, do not retaliate rashly," she stated. Her tone resolute over canteen clamor. "Collect information, then act cleverly. I have witnessed sufficient workplace conflicts to understand hastening backfires." Her guidance made sense. She understood applications like her palm from our tasks. From there, determination formed rapidly. No more appealing to relatives who'd selected Justin above me. I would demonstrate their ignorance, reveal how profound the deceit went. The components aligned in my thoughts, utilize the proof. Schedule it perfectly, allow it to occur without traces. Their decision to omit me would deprive them everything they cherished. The scheme formed swiftly. After discovering Jessica's mysteries, I spent evenings in my Seattle's high residence constructing an application titled Family Moments. A straightforward portal to distribute vintage pictures and excerpts. Concealed in the programming was a confidential pathway to the incriminating video conversation and messages between Jessica and Tyler Brooks. Hidden between harmless images from previous grill parties. I transmitted the pathway to my relative Shannon Jones and Aunt Carol Jones, understanding they'd distribute it at the Thanksgiving gathering in Tacoma. Merely some vintage recollections to ignite reminiscence. I texted, maintaining my inflection cheerful. Thanksgiving evening came. Precipitation pounding the ceiling of mother and father's residence. The gathering was filled relatives, locals, and Nathan Wright, Jessica's partner, all assembled around a desk laden with poultry and dessert. Aunt Carol, constantly keen to display pictures, launched the application on her device, circulating it. Shannon browsed through, laughing at vintage excerpts, then gave it to Nathan, who was drinking a brew beside the hearth. My coworker, Alicia Grant, who'd aided me trial the application, attended the gathering through video call, feigning to share live recollections urged from her own mobile. Nathan's expression shifted when the monitor glitched to Jessica's late-night conversation with Tyler. His jaw clenched as he enlarged it. The sound quiet yet distinct. Jessica's chuckle. Tyler's provocative inflection. The space became quiet. Discussions dying down under the tapping of rain. Outdoors. Jessica, what is this? Nathan questioned. His tone quiet yet harsh. Raising the device, Jessica stiffened, her wine vessel shaking as stares rotated to her. She faltered. It is not how it appears. Somebody altered that. Yet Nathan selected play again. More audible now. The date mark is incontrovertible. The dispute overflowed outdoors to the veranda. Rain drenching their attire as Nathan insisted on explanations. "You were untruthful regarding your history," he stated, voice cracking. "I intended to ask." He departed, leaving Jessica yelling behind him, her rejections overwhelmed by the gale. Indoors. Murmurs circulated, relatives assembling collectively why I was absent. Jessica's stare fell on Aunt Carol, yet she understood I'd arranged the snare. The gathering fell apart in uncomfortable quiet. Dishes unconsumed. The reality circulated like a blaze. Days following the Tacoma gathering. Uploads concerning Jessica's relationship overflowed Seattle and Tacoma neighborhood circles, with pictures disseminated from the application I'd manipulated. Locals labeled mother and father's company challenging their reasoning for supporting Justin Lee, my former partner, above me. Relatives disconnected their online profiles and regional customers called off appointments citing faith concerns. And Carol maintained the pressure. Publishing in the relatives group run. Why did you exclude Clara for a deceiver? Her phrasing provoked uncertainties. Dividing allegiances. Father attempted contacting me initially. His call arrived on one day, his tone unsteady as he referenced the online criticism impacting his building company, Clara. We were unaware of the entire tale, he stated, yet I interrupted him. My inflection emotionless. You picked him, Father. Accept it. I disconnected, looking at my mobile. The quiet dense yet gratifying. Mother's messages came afterward begging for a discussion, yet I kept them unread. My concentration on the unfolding mayhem, then Justin called from a temporary digits, his self-assurance missing. Clara, you are ruining everything, he stated. Voice breaking as he acknowledged fabricating falsehoods regarding my career fixation to gain mother and father's confidence. I taped each phrase, his admission evident he'd portrayed me as the issue to assure his position in their group. You believed you could remove me, I stated, maintaining my tone calm. Speculate who is revealed presently. I transmitted the recording to Aunt Carol, who distributed it in the group conversation, sealing his destiny by the subsequent day. Justin's reputation was dirt in the technology industry. His venture co-workers detached themselves, and a customer breach verified he'd misplaced his sales head position. Too much trouble for their image. He packed and exited Seattle. No farewell, simply murmurs of his departure. The relatives group remained silent, nobody supporting him anymore. I reclined in my seat, viewing the metropolitan horizon, understanding their universe was fracturing without one expression of regret from me. Jessica appeared unexpectedly. Early January, just after New Year, she stood at my urban Seattle residence entrance. Sight crimson and hair disordered, grasping a shawl against the cold. Clara. Please, I require you, she implored. Her tone sore from weeping. I allowed her inside, not because I was concerned, but because I wished her to confront what she'd done. She fell onto my sofa, phrases spilling out. Nathan will not even message me back. He is finished, arranging to wed another person. I misplaced my job. My existence is collapsing. You must aid me repair this. Her despair was tangible, yet it stirred zero within me. I rested against the kitchen bench. Arms folded, observing her fall apart. Assist you, I stated. My tone harsh and level. You instructed me to avoid Thanksgiving, stated you would act towards me like an unknown person. You supported Justin, understanding he deceived regarding me. Why should I raise a hand for you now? Jessica's visage collapsed. Yet she retaliated, tone escalating. You released those videos. You understood Nathan would view them. You damaged everything. I moved nearer, unwavering. No, Jessica. You damaged your own existence. You concealed your relationship with Tyler Brooks, deceived Nathan regarding your history, and believed you could remove me to safeguard your mysteries. I merely ensured the reality emerged. Her sight flashed with fury. Yet I did not halt. You selected a deceiver above your sibling. That is your fault. She rose, trembling, gesturing at me. You are unfeeling. I am your sibling, and you are relishing this. I held her look, tone calm. You are not my sibling anymore. You stated we are strangers, so let us maintain it that manner. The phrases sliced profoundly. And she stilled, tears flowing. Alicia Grant, who'd visited to see me, heard from the corridor and gestured quietly. Her attendants a silent support. Jessica seized her shawl, stuttering. You will lament this, Clara. We might have resolved things. I unsealed the entrance. Rain clicking the panes outdoors. No, Jessica. You do not resolve disloyalty by pleading, you accept it. She exited without another phrase. Her footsteps diminishing along the corridor, Alicia entered inside, putting a palm on my arm. You accomplished what you needed to. Now concentrate on yourself. I nodded. Sensing the burden of my decision rested chilly, conclusive, and correct. The particles settled, yet the harm was lasting. Jessica's existence continued spinning following our encounter. By mid-January, Nathan Wright had progressed, publishing pictures with his new betrothed. A coffee server from Capitol Hill, on social platforms. Jessica monitored his accounts compulsively, her messages to mutual companions becoming desperate, yet he blocked her entirely. Her retail career termination was not the conclusion, her output problems remained. And no Seattle recruitment executive would consider her curriculum vitae after the scandal stained her reputation. She relocated back to mother and father's Tacoma home, a specter of her previous self. Ranting in late-night uploads that received sympathy, yet zero responses, mother and father encountered their own accounting. Their building company lost customers quicker than they could find new ones. Regional companies avoided them after the online criticism linked their name to Jessica's relationship. Locals ceased asking them to neighborhood events. And their church group messages became silent when mother attempted to clarify. Father contacted me one night. His tone laden with remorse. Clara, we aired supporting Justin, he acknowledged. Halting as if anticipating absolution, I stayed quiet, then stated. You picked him above me. That is not an item you repair with a conversation. I concluded the conversation. My determination firm. And Carol Jones continued compelling the relatives to confront their faults. Her communications blunt in group messages. You rejected Clara for a fraudster, she typed, and most relatives concurred. Disconnecting mother and father online, their social sphere diminished to nothing, their Tacoma, standing in fragments. Justin Lee, already departed from Seattle, appeared briefly in Portland employment ads. Yet no technology company employed him. His reputation was toxic after the disseminated recording revealed his falsehoods. Alicia Grant became my foundation over espresso at an urban diner. She heard as I handled the aftermath. You are more resilient from this, she stated, her tone firm. They lost you since they did not appreciate you. Construct your existence without them. Her phrasing resonated. And I began focusing on my technology sales profession, proposing new customers with an assurance I had not experienced in months. The void of severing connections remained. Yet so did a muted dignity. I'd maintained my position, no concessions. Their universe had crumbled under the heaviness of their own selections. And I was finished bearing their loads. I established the boundary permanently. By late January, I blocked mother, father, and Jessica. On all channels, telephone, online platforms, even electronic mail. Their communications ceased arriving, and I sensed a muted liberation in the quiet. No more shame journeys. No more justifications. I'd provided them opportunities they'd discarded when they selected Justin Lee above me. Jessica S decline did not decelerate. Companions from Tacoma shared that she'd become reclusive, her social media saturated with ambiguous uploads regarding treachery that received zero approvals. A shared acquaintance noted she'd pursued counseling for despondency. Yet employment discussions kept failing. Her reputation was still harmful in Seattle's retail spheres. Nathan Wright was betrothed in a tiny courthouse service. Pictures displaying him grinning in a manner Jessica never earned. She'd misplaced her destiny, and I sensed zero sympathy. Mother and father's world contracted further. Their building company closed after losing its final big agreement. Compelling them to trade their Tacoma residence at a deficit. They relocated to a tiny flat separated from their old community locals and church. Companions had frozen them out. Weary of the turmoil. Aunt Carol Jones informed me father attempted calling her once, inquiring whether I'd ever yield, yet she refused him. You arranged your situation, she stated, and that was final. Justin Lee remained absent. Gossip located him in Portland, managing with independent tasks. His technology profession finished after the recording leak marked him unreliable. Nobody in Seattle's venture scene referenced him anymore. His identity erased like he'd never been present. I embraced my existence, more resilient. Alicia Grant and I proposed a new customer at work. Securing an agreement that elevated my standing in technology sales. Nights were mine again, spent discovering Seattle's espresso bars or trekking with coworkers. Forming a circle that respected me. The pain of misplacing relatives remained, yet it was eclipsed by a reality I'd discovered the difficult manner. Self-worth surpasses allegiance to those who deceive you. In the United States, you can depart from a harmful family and still prosper, establish limits. And the universe becomes accessible. I'd selected myself, and that was sufficient.